Today I'm going to show you one of the easiest canning projects you can do, and that is canning meat. And in this case, I am canning duck. This duck has been in my freezer for a while. We do not cook a lot of duck, and honestly, when it's in the freezer, I forget about it. And so having it canned and on the pantry shelf is a great way for me to remember that I have it, and it's already ready to use in whatever recipe that I want, and I don't have to think about it ahead of time and plan ahead, which I'm really terrible at when it comes to meal planning. Most of this duck is just breast fillets, so I am not cutting them up or anything. I'm just going through and filling my jars to a 1-inch head space, and because this is raw and it is going to pressure can in the canner, it is going to create its own broth, so I don't have to add anything to this. If you were going to add salt to your jars, I probably wouldn't add more than about 1/4 of a teaspoon per pint, but I am not going to add salt. I prefer to add salt when I am cooking and not when I'm canning. I am putting cold meat into warm jars, and then they are going to go in a warm canner. That is how you raw pack. I did have to go grab a couple of extra jars because I had some duck breasts that were not deboned, and I am going to just can them exactly like they are, still on the bone. Technically, those can for a shorter period of time. It's not going to hurt it to all can together for the same canning time. Because the duck without the bone has to can for 75 minutes, I will use that time to can this entire batch with and without the bones. Once I have my jars filled, made sure to wipe the rims of the jars with white vinegar to remove any fat. Duck is very fatty, and so I want to make sure that I don't have any fat or blood on the rims of my jars that will prevent a good seal in the canning process. Once the rims are clean, I add my lids, put my bands on fingertip tight, and in the canner they go. Once it starts venting a steady stream of steam, I set my timer for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, I'll put my weight on. For my altitude, I'm using a 10-pound weight. Then you have to allow the canner to come up to pressure again, and the weight will begin to jiggle. For my canner, I'm looking for that weight to jiggle once or twice a minute. Once the weight starts jiggling, I'll set my timer for 75 minutes. After 75 minutes, I turn the heat off and allow the canner to come down from pressure completely on its own. Then I remove the weight and wait another 2 minutes before I remove the lid. And then you take your jars and put them somewhere where they can sit undisturbed until they completely cool down. This usually takes 18 to 24 hours. And there you have it, 10 pints of duck that sits on the pantry shelf. This duck smelled so good while I was canning it that I decided to open one of these jars for supper. And in my next video, I'll show you what I made.